Not anymore, Pam.
I'm going to call to order this regular meeting of the Page County School Board.
Mr. Page?
Yes.
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Ms. Allen? Yes. Mr. Overfelt?
Yes.
Ms. Golden?
Yes.
Yes. Please pause for a minute of silence as we prepare for the meeting tonight. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dr. Fox, do you have any agenda changes or additions?
I do not.
I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I make a motion that we approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
A motion by Mrs. Sullivan Spoote and a second by Mr. Painter to approve the agenda as presented.
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Ms. Allen? Mr. Overfelt?
Yes.
Mr. Painter?
Yep.
Ms. Sullivan Smith?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Madam Chairman, I'd like to certify that all personnel matters discussed in closed meeting tonight was through section 2.2-3711A1.
A motion by Ms. Sullivan Spoote and a second by Ms. Alger to certify personnel matters discussed in closed session.
Ms. Allen? Yes. Mr. Overfelt?
Yes.
Mr. Painter?
Yes.
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Wolf?
Yes. Are there any citizen comments? Online. I have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
A motion by Mr. Overfelt and a second by Ms. Alger to approve the consent agenda.
Mr. Overfelt?
Yes.
Mr. Painter?
Yes.
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Ms. Allen? Yes. Ms. Sullivan Smith?
Yes.
Yes. Instructional highlight, Mr. Rittenhour and Ms. Damone and Mr. Runyon.
Good evening, board members, Dr. Fox. It's a collaboration tonight. We got Mr. Rittenhour, the new principal, and Ms. Damone, the assistant principal, here with me to give you some highlights on Luray Middle School. We'll start with goals that they had for the school year. There's one goal was small group instruction, and they were going to target individual student needs. I will discuss more on this, and then Ms. Damone will talk about chronic absenteeism. Some of the small group instruction is both dynamic and specific, where groups are ever changing based on their skill and lessons being taught that week or that month. And students are selected because they need that additional support on a specific target. Some small group instruction during class, though, they will do partner work or group work. And this is to provide extra practice and additional teacher support. And that happens throughout the block. And most teachers have a table in the back of the room or somewhere in the room, so they will meet with small groups while students are doing independent work so that they can meet their needs. And it's all based off of data, whether that be a unit test or might be CIP benchmarks and stuff like that. Extra practice, they'll pull them out as small groups, and some of the paraprofessionals will work with struggling students, and that is at the direction of the teacher. And the one-on-one support, students will advocate for themselves, so they're trying to really work with students to learn how to advocate and ask for help and let teachers know exactly what they need. And then there's also the RTI time, which is the response to intervention throughout the day, and that's built around lunch and SEL time. And that changes weekly or daily, depending on what the needs are, what they're covering in class. And this time of the year, they're really wrapping up content, heading into the final, trying to get ready for SOL. So there'll be a lot of SOL prep and what they may need going forward. Remediation groups, small groups of students in each math and English class, getting specific skills. And that's block for additional support on that week's lessons. Extra practice, small groups for additional practice or review of specific skills. A lot of those are benchmarks in Mastery Connect, which is one of our tools we have, and additional support. So they've also engaged some of the elective and PE teachers, and they come in, they pair up with a teacher, and they work with small groups, and that's under the direction of what the teacher says they need, and can you work with this group on whatever the skill is for that day. And that seems to be pretty successful. And now I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Damone to talk about some attendance.
So this year we have a chronic absenteeism team. Last year, our chronic absenteeism rate was 30%, and this year we are currently standing at 13%. So that team has been really effective in bringing down those chronic absenteeism numbers. You can see I put the last 4 years of data there on that chart. Our team consists of Ms. King and Mr. Pressgraves, who make the daily contacts to families through email or by phone, and then myself and Ms. Shank. We mail letters, make calls to do attendance plans, and meet with families as needed. We have our chart of absences for our chronically absent students. So you can see as we do those meetings, those numbers are going down month to month, which is really great. And finally, on our team is Miss Owens. She works to coordinate our attendance breakfast. That's our celebrations for students that have attended 95% of each quarter's days. Miss Berner's 8th grade math class actually did that math, and they realized it's 39 out of 41 days per quarter that a student has to attend to receive that awesome attendance breakfast. And those breakfasts have been really, really successful. Students really enjoy them.
So 9 days in, and there are so many things that I could share with you, brags on the good work that has been done and the awesome team that has been in work at Luray Middle School. It is an honor to now serve as the principal, and this evening I have the opportunity to really share some highlights about the students of our school. Even before I assumed the role, when I sat in this room in a round one interview, one of the questions that I had for the team, the experts on the front lines, were, what about the students? And resoundingly, the folks have told me that our students are incredibly resilient. They are caring. They are well-mannered. They're hardworking. They're dedicated. They are diverse. And I was so pleased when I arrived last Monday to find that everything that everyone had told me is absolutely true. Our NJHS, National Junior Honor Society, serve as really our student leaders in the building. They've been hard at work all year. They do service projects for us. They take care of some flower beds in the school. They help with our dances, and they also provide for us a video update, which is called Spike's Scoop. Our Pals Club is a partnership between Luray Middle School and our next door neighbor, Luray Elementary School. Students choose to participate in the Pals Club, and once a month they take time on our club day and they go to the elementary school. They spend time building positive relationships with our elementary students, which helps to bridge that transition when it comes time from their building to our building, and provides us the opportunity to start building community at an early age. They do reading projects with the students. They also do crafts, and we're really excited about some opportunities to expand this program next year. The Arts Club at Luray Middle School and our Fine Arts have been very, very busy this year. We had the opportunity to send our Arts Club to Washington, D.C. to visit a number of the museums and the galleries there. And our concert band earned in March, they earned an excellent rating at state assessment. That's like the SOL for our art students, and we're very, very proud of that. At the art show in April, we had a very, very strong showing with several honorable mentions among our students. And one of our students got best in show for the middle school division as well. We're very proud of that. Our drama department early in the year presented a Christmas Carol. And I'm so excited to invite you to Luray Middle School on May, I believe 30th and 29th, 30th, June 1st, I believe at the correct dates, to watch our production of The Little Mermaid Junior in our auditorium. I'm very excited for that opportunity. Just along those lines, switching gears to career and technical education, our FFA and FCCLA have been very, very busy this year. Both attended the state fair in October. In December, both organizations shared a CTE float in the Luray Christmas Parade. Each club day, once a month, these clubs meet. They prepare for various activities. One of the early meetings, our FFA members brought in livestock, chickens. I heard there was a goat involved, rabbits, and the opportunity to teach one another more about livestock and have some hands-on. If we can't always get the kids to the farm, we'll bring the farm to the kids. Our FCCLA members, very, very proud of their accomplishments at the state leadership conference that was earlier in May, and very excited that some of our students earned silver and gold medals and earned the opportunity to represent the Commonwealth and represent our district at the National Leadership Conference that's going to be held in Seattle, Washington. We wish them all the best. I'm going to ask Ms. Damone to share a little bit about athletics.
So our athletic teams are very, very active. In the fall, our cross-country team, we had a student place 5th, and our boys team placed 3rd. Our LMS girls basketball team were actually district champs, 16-0, undefeated.
Yay.
And in track currently, we have several students who have broken records, and I think today we're looking to break some more at our district meet. So very, very successful athletic season. We also have many fun events going on at LMS. So we've held several pep rallies. We had National Kindness Day. We recognize our students once a month per subject, and that's student positive recognition. We also turned our basement into a haunted house and invited LES over, and we had a trunk or treat in collaboration with LES as well. So it's been a very fun year.
Thank you. Are there any questions? I'm sure Ms. Damone and Mr. Ritenour will be more than happy to answer those.
I have a question. What do you consider to be the most effective tool that you put in place for absenteeism, or to fight absenteeism?
I would say Miss King and Mr. Pressgraves are very, very good about making those daily contacts, those daily calls. And then I think our parent meetings have also been really, really effective, trying to find out what we can do to help offer additional support and making kind of clear our expectations. It's been really working for us.
I'm curious about the breakfast. What are you serving?
So actually our last breakfast, Rileyville Baptist Church actually came over and served. And I think the students called it kind of IHOP coming to our school. So there's pancakes and bacon, and it was really, really nice.
Nice. Okay. Thank you.
I would just like to say welcome, Mr. Ritenour.
Yeah, very much.
Thank you. It is a pleasure and it's an honor to serve among the folks of Page County.
I have a couple of questions. So for the self-advocacy for the one-on-ones, are you all finding that kids are actually doing that and that maybe it's increasing throughout the year as they're seeing other kids do it?
So we've started a program, I guess it's across middle school level. It's called I'm Determined. So it really focuses on student advocating for themselves. And that's in our special education department, but we've kind of helped students across the school advocate for themselves and let teachers and staff know what they need. Do they need a break? Do they need a quiet place to work? And I think that's been really successful.
And then I am curious, the expansion of the PALS. I love that program. I think it's great. I think I've said this in a previous board meeting, but the older kids working with the younger is so impactful and effective. I mean, you don't have to go into it right now, but I would be curious to hear kind of what you all are looking at to expand that, just out of my own curiosity.
Ms. Shank runs that program for us with Ms. Stoffelmeyer's class, and it's been really successful. So I know there's been talks about maybe visiting some other classrooms as well, and as more students get involved.
Do you know how many students are involved in PALS right now? Just
I
a
don't
rough
know
estimate?
off the top of my head.
Okay.
Maybe 30.
That's quite a
Yes, and they've done some arts, crafts, lots of reading together.
And then my last question, and I'm asking this because I have a kid at the rec that is in the play, and they've told me the dates, and I'm like, what time is it? I don't know. Do you all have the time of the play?
So on the Friday and the Saturday, 7 p.m., and then Sunday matinee performance at 2 p.m.
Okay, thank you so much.
So you're getting ready to hand off some eighth graders to the high school. What kind of class are they getting?
They're actually getting a very well-behaved group, pretty strong academically. One of the first things I noticed when I got to Luray Middle is I told them all, you've got 3 very good groups here. Students are well-behaved, they listen, they respond to you properly. They are middle school kids, so they have their days. So do high school kids. I worked with them for many years, but pretty strong, very receptive. Miss Clark was very excited after they were there for their orientation. She said they were well behaved and they listened, and so she was excited to get them. So, and academically, they're pretty strong as well.
Are they? Do you know any of the stats on the testing that they've done?
Well, we're just getting ready to start
Yeah.
testing for this year. We've only tested from a small group at the beginning, or in January,
Right.
and so the rest will.
And how
Be
was
happy.
that? Is that
It was pretty decent. So
reading?
we got the second. No reading. That'll come. Yeah, just in the spring. In the fall is the grade 8 science and civics and economics, because those are semester classes. So we'll hit those again this semester with a new group of kids, and then you combine the scores at the end to get an overall. So we're about halfway there.
Okay.
But then math, science, all the others will be that are year long. They'll be coming up here in May.
Yeah.
And then they'll
Mr.
have
Ridnour, does he know what he's getting from Luray Elementary and Springfield?
they'll be working on that soon. And we also have meetings in the summer. So Springfield and LES admin will come meet with these two and talk about at-risk students, maybe who shouldn't be in the same classes together if you can avoid that. Talk about attendance, and then likewise they will meet with Luray High and do the same thing to talk about that. And then that happens also with Page Middle, the Page High, and then also Stanley and Shenandoah with Page Middle to
And
keep
using-
everyone updated.
And how much of the years of experience are you losing this year with retirements? People leaving?
Not too many at Luray Middle. One retirement that we know.
Just one science teacher retiring. I mean, it's huge loss.
Substantial, right?
Yeah.
Huge loss.
He's the singing.
Yes.
Yes,
That's
yes.
all kids know.
That's right. Yeah.
Remember the stuff I sing.
I still remember those songs.
There's one.
Mhm.
What's what legacy he's leaving?
Yes. So fortunately, it's only one, but he'll be hard to replace.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Thanks very much.
The April minutes are posted for review. And Mr. Bush or Ms. Drain, do you all have an update? Who was up with this stuff? Or do you both have an update?
Of course you do.
Oh, they don't have,
You don't have it.
okay, sorry.
Do we have it? Not on there.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, well, that's all right. That's kind of sad though, because I have really nice pictures on there, I swear. Okay, let's see.
Izzy, do we want to, we can either try to pull it up or we can wait and you can do it next time. Would you rather do that?
Whatever works for you.
I mean, if you're comfortable reading through it, that's fine, but if you want us to see the pictures, we can certainly bring it back next time as well.
Okay, you guys have to see the pictures, so I'm gonna have to wait. They're really good, I promise.
Do we need a motion to table that?
Do we have Sebastian, did you have an update?
I don't have a slideshow, but the big comment I would like to make is our steak dinner that FFA and FCCLA did, I think went well. Mr. Painter, did you have a good time?
I did. Good steak too. Yep.
But there will be a slideshow soon. I've been really busy right now, but I want to thank you all for your patience and sorry for not having one this week.
Perfectly. We're glad the steak dinner went well through the adversity of the electricity. Right. So you all, I heard, did an amazing job.
Yeah, I think a lot of people started pouring out sweat as soon as all them lights went on. Everything was back up and running really quick, and I actually had a lot of people say that they liked the lighting a little bit better because it wasn't quite as bright, which a lot of people seem to like.
Yeah.
I actually thought you did that on purpose to give it a romantic ambiance.
Better than candles.
Yeah.
Ms. Seacrest, monthly financials.
Yes, good evening, board members. You have the monthly financials for April, where expenditures and revenue were $3,737,979.27, along with the local match calculation that we did balance with the treasurer's office. If you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer those for you. Thank you.
Dr. Johnson, Human Resources and Business Operations. update.
Yes, good evening, members of the board. I'm pleased tonight to be able to address a couple of areas out of the HR and Operations Department. I want to give you a little bit of an update on the contract process for the upcoming school year and share with you some of the summer crisis response training that we're going to do. And then I'm very excited because our new supervisor of transportation, Mrs. Pam Hall, is with us, and she's going to give you a little bit of insight into some of her goals for the department. So I was just actually nudging her and saying, when you go up, grab the microphone. So if I can lead off with contracts, I know for a couple of our school board members, this is a first go through. So I thought I would slow down a bit and just let you know what we do, what kinds of contracts we issue. So you can see we don't just issue one contract if you work for the school system. By law, labor laws, there are a variety of types of contract based upon the type of job and your credentials, experience, all of that goes into play. So an annual contract is basically the first 3 years of any teacher or administrator. If you're new to teaching, first 3 years you get an annual contract. What that means is it's only the promise of that year. And then year two, we issue you another contract if things have gone well, and you get the promise of year two, year three. And then after year three, you are eligible for a continuing contract. By law, after 3 years, you have to get a continuing contract unless we've said we're not going to give you a contract, in which case you're going somewhere else at that point. So years 4 and beyond, now you're into continuing, which it's assumed you're going to get a contract each year, unless there's a performance issue. If there's a performance issue and it's properly documented and we've worked through steps to improve and problem solve and so on, then so your teachers that have been with us 10, 15, 20 years and they're doing a good job, it's pretty much automatic that they get that continuing contract each year. So that's type number 2. Classifieds, basically a classified contract follows the Fair Labor Standards, and what that means is they're not exempt. If they go beyond 40 hours, we have to pay them overtime. Your annual and your continuing, they're exempt, meaning if a principal needs to work 50 hours, they work 50 hours. They don't get overtime. Same with teachers. Teachers in their contract, it says other duties as assigned. So that's the difference there. So your classifieds, basically, your secretaries, your custodians, maintenance, teacher assistants, the expectation is they're going to work 40 hours or less. And we try not to get into overtime situations with those folks. We have a separate contract for our driving staff, and that does include CDL and non-CDL. There's a different rate. If you have a CDL and you drive a bus, that's a different rate than if you simply drive a car or a van. And that makes sense with the credential and the responsibility. And then our nutritional services folks, they are paid at an hourly rate. And there's a variety. We have 3-hour contracts, 5-hour contracts, 6-hour or 8-hour. And again, that depends on, are you working the entire, get in there and get breakfast going, keep lunch going, and then, clean up things as the day comes to an end. Some come in specifically for a meal. That would be your 3-hour folks. And then you have your coaches' contracts. Those are written specifically for a sport and a season, and we typically distribute those by athletic season. So as a board, we would bring you a list of fall coaches this summer and say, this is who we're asking to be approved as football and as cross-country and volleyball, the fall. And then late in the fall, we would bring you another round that we get from the athletic director saying these are who we're asking to be approved for winter season, and the same in the spring. And then lastly, we have contracted services, and those we issue on an as-need basis. The specialty areas. So those are folks, they don't receive benefits. They, Mr. Bell and I were kind of brainstorming some of the examples. We might have a part-time speech person that comes in, every 2 days a week or half a day here and there. And so we specify specifically how many days, how many hours, or total hours in a year. So it's a very specific contract. Our mowing crew, those folks are part-time, hourly, they're contracted services. So that's the different types of contracts. This year, we HR and the finance department work very closely. We're talking today about how many hours and how much Ms. Secrets has budgeted on her calendar for the next couple of weeks to get these files. But the goal right now is that we will launch all of the contracts except coaches and contracted services through the Talent Ed account. So every employee has a Talent Ed. It's an electronics account. It's how we submit our leave. It's how we do back to school trainings. And that is also the little graphic there at the top is just a screenshot. When you log in, you can see if you have a task, and a task might be, my contract's waiting for me, I've got to sign it. I electronically sign it, and then it's stored in that program. I can always see it as an employee, and we can always go and look at it as an employer in the electronic system. So we're going to issue those on May the 28th. That's the plan. And then we're going to ask staff to have made their commitment and signed, sealed, and delivered them by the evening of June 3rd. And we are hoping that our folks will all be responsible and appreciative and sign those, and we'll know exactly where we stand. I thought you'd enjoy seeing current counts. So when we went through this process in May of 23 for this year, you can see that we issued 605 contracts, and you can see, so 87 of those were teachers and administrators in years 1 through 3. 217 of those were teachers and administrators in years 4 and above. 143 classifieds, 56 drivers, 32 nutritional services, and 70 coaches. And those coaches include Paige and Luray, high school and middle. All those 70 are all 3 seasons. So that's what we're getting ready to embark upon for the upcoming year. But all of this happens literally in about 2 to 3 weeks, probably, doesn't it? Yeah. Questions on that, and contracts or process?
Would it be possible to get a,
Yeah, sorry.
no, I just wanted, would it be possible to get a copy of the slide? I just
Absolutely.
I think it'd be just nice to have that in my read file.
Absolutely, sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
And-
That's for us who don't have good memories.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's
Yeah.
for me as well, who doesn't have a good memory.
After I look at it about 6 times, I might have, I'll probably remember.
It
some
is
of
helpful because these are not terms you use every day, and
Sure.
and these are very much school-specific terms, yeah.
So if there's a teacher that doesn't sign by the 3rd, what's the process at that?
So we would then, this system is wonderful. The Talent Ed system, it nudges you when you have a task, it nudges you every day. Hey, you haven't done it yet. Next day, hey, you haven't done it yet. So by middle of that week, I start reaching out to principals with short lists. You have 15 people in your building who haven't done a contract yet. Can you go find out what's going on? So truly, when we get down to the last day, it's usually very minimal. But the message is, when we start sending that message via the principal midweek, late week, hey, if you don't sign this, we have to post your position. And if they come, I've seen over the years, some extenuating circumstance where it was unintentional or something happened, and life happens, and we get them to sign it and we move on. But if we get a sense that they're, it's not compliant, then we're very firm. We're going to post your job. And at that point, then they'd have to come back before you all to say they didn't sign their contract. Now, for whatever reason, maybe they really do want to come back. We would go back through the appointment process with you all again and say they didn't sign it. And, so here we are. But you have to be firm, because in a valley such as this, with Shenandoah, Rockingham, Harrisonburg City, you never know if someone's playing the game of looking at other communities and, they're hanging on and hanging on. We work as an HR group in the Valley. We have an agreement, and this has been the case for many, many years. June 15th is our magical date. So what I mean by that, we expect employees to sign their contract by, and this year, the designated date is June 3rd. But around the Valley, we understand sometimes someone has applied somewhere else and they haven't gotten an answer yet. And we say, well, we're not going to wait. You need to sign your contract. But we will give you until June 15th, in which if Shenandoah called me and said June 14th, hey, we've been talking to so-and-so and we're ready to offer them, we would release them from contract up to June 15th. After June 15th, we come to you and say, what do you want us to do? Someone's asked to get out of their contract, it's June 28th. And then usually what we're asking you to say is not without a suitable replacement. So, and we have done that. We have told people no, because it gets too late into the summer.
Yeah. Yep.
It's more than fair.
Yeah, it is. So just for me, my clarification, 70 coaches, that is not a subset. That's a standalone number. I mean, that's 70 people. They're not doing other jobs.
Well, some of them are. Some of them are.
So that's what I was trying to get.
Yeah.
So what number, how is that compared to the 217?
I see what you're saying. So I don't have that number off the top of my head, but some of that 70 are math teachers, English teachers, whatever, and then they go to the sport in the afternoon.
Like when I was growing up, our track coach always taught math.
Yeah. Others are, we have a lot of community coaches who don't teach or work for us, but are on a standalone coaching contract. Those coaching contracts range from maybe 1,500 to 3,000 for a season, depending on the sport and the numbers. But yeah, I could figure that out for you if you wanted to know that. But exactly how many of our coaches are on contract versus how many are community coaches. And then I put in parentheses, that doesn't include the volunteers. Most sports have the head coach. Some sports have a paid assistant, not all, depends on the size of the program. And then they all have 2, 3, 4, 5 volunteers that you all approve, but they don't get paid.
Sure. Yeah. So I guess the point is that of the 217 or even of the 87, some of those folks are going to have 2 contracts.
Yes.
Because they'll be, okay.
You might have continuing as well.
Yeah.
If they coach and drive classes.
Well, that's why I was going to go there next. It's because you have bus drivers, right? And so they would have a separate
So
contract for that.
give you a great example. You saw him the other night, and we talked about it at the teacher. So Mr. Hamilton over at Luray, that was the Luray High Teacher of the Year. He has a continuing contract because he's taught for 26 years, I think it was.
Right.
He has a head football contract. He has a winter track contract. He has a spring track contract.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's really helpful. Thanks. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. Yeah.
And it's JV and varsity coach.
Yes, ma'am.
They're the coach.
Yeah. That number represents varsity, JV, and middle school. Yeah.
That's cool.
This is very informational. I started to share with you the right side, and then I thought, well, if I'm going to go down the crisis planning line, let me just give you a quick recap of what's coming this summer in-house as well. But to the right, the fire EMS incident drill. Mr. Bell and I have been working with Matt Cronin. Matt is the county coordinator for EMS and fire and emergency services. He's the paid leader for Page County. Last summer, he led a shooting incident drill in which the police respond, the ambulances respond. It's a drill. It is for us, but as much it's for how will the community and the hospitals handle that situation. So last summer we did an active shooting drill. This summer we're planning a bus accident. You hope it never happens. And admittedly, Matt said, we don't have protocols in place right now. So those are being written as we speak at the county level. So there'll be actors invited, probably adults. I don't think we're going to be going down to student, but we're going to, the meeting I sat in this week, they've got hospitals within 2.5 hours of us. And if we had a critical accident where maybe there were 15 transports that were, really, really serious, well, Page, Luray, Winchester may not be able to handle that. So already the charts are being made. If we had 15 critical, how many would come from Lynchburg City? How many ambulances would come from Winchester? How many would come from Harrisonburg to get these folks, whether, how many helicopters can we get? So they're coding it out, it's a code such and such, tells all the hospitals within 2.5 hours, we've got this crisis, and they know exactly how many ambulances to get going or where the helicopter's coming from. On our side, we'll be working on, okay, if the accident is there and maybe there's 20 people involved who are just going to need shelter for the short term while the significant injuries occur. So Pam's team, okay, I've got the buses designated. We know who the driver's going to be. At a quick call, they're heading that way for shelter purposes. The police, who's doing what? The staging at the locality, Matt described, police, fire, ambulance, sometimes they get in each other's way. And so we're doing a tabletop exercise in June where this will all be done mentally on paper. And then in August, we're going to do the actual a large scale event with actors and school staff and fire and rescue. And I'm thrilled by it because, again, preparation leads to obviously, hopefully a better outcome if something goes awry. So.
I hope they're reaching out to some other counties. I know that because I've been involved in this in the past. The Federal Law Enforcement Training Center in Glencoe, Georgia, they've got huge resources that can actually help with this because you need this committees to meet at least quarterly.
Yes.
And people have to know what their jobs are, and so you can handle these mass activities.
That's exactly what, when Mike and I attended this week, virtually, there were representatives from all over the state, and that's the documentation that they're writing. They're pulling from state documents, but they're pulling in regional representatives for fire and hospital and rescue.
This is great. I'm glad we're doing this because it's needed.
Yeah, and I got to give credit to Matt Cronin. I mean, he's leading this for us, and
Wonderful.
Our team will be heavily involved because we're benefiting from it.
Sure.
But it's certainly not our specialty. It's his specialty, so it's good. And I thought then on the left side, just to remind you what we do as a school in the summer with our administrators, we review and take them through the Alice lockdown procedures, and then anybody that's new, obviously, making sure they're up to speed so that when we have back to school week, we can do it at each school with individual staff, making sure everybody's on the LifeSpot app and those records are up to date and new folks have been trained and returners have got access to refresher courses. We have all of that. We have videos on that. In the summer, our principals and assistant principals do physical building walkthroughs, interior and exterior, and we have scripted forms that they have to check, fences and trees and windows and doors, and they're checking off and writing comments. That all comes back to me, and it goes into our crisis manual, division crisis manual, and we submit it to the BDOE, and then you all sign off on our division crisis process at the end of August. I bring that to you. Part of that is also the school safety surveys. This school year, we just not long ago finished. Mr. Runyon was leading climate and safety surveys. So students and teachers do those. Those are led by the VDOE. They send them down to us. Our staff complete them. Our students complete them. The data goes back to the VDOE, and then we get it summarized by school and by division. So, and then we have to respond to that. What do we see that's problematic? What do we see that we're pleased with? What do we need to do? That goes into our August plan that we then bring to you and take back to the VDOE. Every school has a situational management team, and again, that's if we have a crisis, we go into lockdown, whatever the crisis may be, what's everybody's duty? Who's handling student records? Who's got who's making sure the students that need to come off of an upper level wheelchair, crutches, and we've lost power, how do we get them down the steps? So that's all articulated by school specific names. It's not fictional. It's, Mr. So-and-so, Miss So-and-so, who's doing what in the situation. So we make sure we have those all in place by the end of July. And then we map out our drills. Every drill that we do, fire drills, bus drills, tornado drills, we have a spreadsheet, and I can pull it up on any day. I can tell you what school, what date, what drill are they doing. I thought if we were going to talk, I was really excited to tell you about the summer partnership with EMS, but then I thought, oh, it's a good opportunity to just give you an update on what we'll be doing with the administrative team in-house as well.
Sure.
Any questions on that? Or
What's the status on our badging system?
just about finished. Springfield's using theirs. LES, I think, are using theirs. Mr. Bell was out checking some doors yesterday with badges. Elementaries, I probably may be done. I'm not sure about it because we went north to south. But we sent the sub badges out yesterday because we had equipped the elementaries with everybody's staff, and then we're like, oh, we didn't get the sub badges. So if you have somebody who's subbing that day, we need they've got to be able to get in from the playground and the back door as well. So that's gone very well. It's good. Yeah, good question. And lastly, if I could introduce Pam Hall, our new supervisor. She's just going to give you a quick update on where we hope transportation is going to go. And just a reminder, Pam's been in the division for 13 years. She's been behind the wheel. She's been in the office as a clerk. She led the division when we adopted the TransFinder program. She is clearly the expert in-house for TransFinder. Yeah.
Good evening. I'd like to thank the board for letting me speak tonight, and it is a privilege to be able to address you, even though I'm nervous. I would like to give you guys some insight into the transportation department in my hopes of improving the department and creating an environment that the drivers are satisfied with and want to continue to stay with us. My first objective would be to put in place a driver recruitment initiative.
Oh, good.
My vision is to start enlisting administrators, coaches, athletic directors, and staff that we already have to become CDL certified. My current trainer is Lori Mongol, and she is prepared to start classes on June 10th. So anybody wants to step up? Sign up. We can get that going. She's talking about doing a couple of hours in class and then a couple of hours over at the bus garage to get everybody started. And the classes will be determined on how many people we sign up. And she will see how many sessions that she would need to go with the number of people that would sign up for it. I'd also like to consider an additional CDL trainer position. Lori is great, but she has mentioned that the availability may be limited for her because of some other obligations. We also need to attract drivers from outside division. I feel like the banners that we placed out in the 3 locations were helpful. We had people reach out to us, but it fell short with applications. So they would reach out, ask about the position, but never apply for it. Our goal was to move those banners around. That didn't actually happen like we wanted it to, and a lot of that's because of being short-staffed. And maintenance guys were supposed to do it, and he's been short-staffed as well, so it kind of didn't go that way. But we would like to try to get those banners moved so that it'll redirect people's attention and hopefully get some people to apply. Another thing that I would like to do is offer our drivers some incentives. Money might not be the only thing employees look at, but it is still a huge factor. A performance bonus can be a great motivator for our employees. Nearly 65% of the U.S. employees reported that they prefer bonuses based on their performance. To be fair to employees, we need to set out objectives, criterias, and would be to determine how they would get those bonuses. Financial attendance incentives, that would help me a lot. If, we had it one time, and I think it was in 2017, I was still a driver. If you didn't miss any time, the first month you'd get $20, the next month you'd get $40. At the end of the year, you had an opportunity to receive $300 bonus for your attendance. And would like to look into trying to implement something similar to that we had back then. I think it only ran for about a year, and I think some of the standards were hard to keep up with. It's why it kind of went by the wayside. I'd also like for to be considered offering employees a chance to earn or recruit and retain bonus. If they refer somebody to the division and complete the training and stay with the division for a specific amount of time, I'll get that out here, then they would be able to be eligible to receive a bonus for doing that. Additional paid time off. These are just some of the ideas that I've kind of researched and looked at to see if it'd be something that we could do for the employees here. Employees who have worked more than 5 years in a company are considered long-term employees. One of the best benefits is to give them additional paid time off. Sick leave incentives, buying back sick days, rewards employees for consistent and scheduled attendance. Attendance lottery. Employees with perfect attendance are entered into a drawing for a prize each month or quarter. These are just a few ideas that I would like to have considered for my staff. I also want drivers to feel included. Some ideas for incorporating inclusion for the staff would be planning committees to help go over handbooks and procedures, continued monthly driver meetings. We were doing virtual driver meetings, and I'd like to try to continue doing those, so that gives the drivers the opportunity to let us know what's going on, and we can work out if they're having problems. Also, encourage an establishment of a sunshine committee. We have that here at the central office, and it would be an awesome idea for our bus drivers. And I feel like that would maybe bring them together as a unit, and they don't get to see each other because they're on buses. So it's a little bit different than an office job. So anything that we can do to bring them together, I think would be beneficial.
Can you share the Sunshine Committee?
So the Sunshine Committee here is basically, we celebrate everybody's birthday in the office. If that's a card or candy, we plan dinners, celebrate milestones or, holidays or whatever. It's just something to brighten somebody's day by, just saying thank you. You did a good job. Today was a rough day. We had 8 drivers out. So there was a lot of drivers who stepped up and did double runs to make sure our kids got home this evening. And, as appreciation, I feel like, they need something extra. They need that extra thank you, or, just be able to show them that their work is appreciated.
Builds community too.
Absolutely.
So, Ms. Alder, just to add on to that, so schools have typically what they call like a social committee. And everybody contributes a little bit to it, and then you use that. And so we might do a holiday lunch together as a potluck, or if somebody's mother passes away, the Sunshine Committee or the social committee will take care of making sure they're appropriately recognized.
Okay. And monthly newsletters. I feel like clear communication and the ability to give feedback. So I feel like that if if they did a monthly, if I did a monthly newsletter to the drivers, they would know what was going on in other areas. I think there's been a lot of confusion in our department. They say, I've had a couple people say, well, you've got a sub and she's not driving. Yeah, she is. Just because you don't see her on your end doesn't mean she's not driving on another end. So I feel like that a newsletter to update drivers on the happenings in the department would be beneficial too. And I also think recognition for employees for their work, especially the ones that are constantly stepping up, just like the drivers I was talking about earlier tonight, they should be recognized. And whether it's in the newsletter or on our district website page or whatever, it would really be nice to have the recognition for those drivers. And I think that would actually build up the morale in our department. And the next thing is the TransFinder. TransFinder has been a big part of our department. I love the program, and it has been very beneficial to us. I would like to expand on that. I did realize that a lot of our principals and secretaries don't necessarily know how to use it to their advantage. And I would like to spend some time over the summer with the administrators to go over all the things that they can find out from this program. I still get a lot of emails and phone calls. What bus does so-and-so ride and what time does it get there? And they have that information. They just don't know how to get to it. So I'd like to do that over the summer. In this also is a form feature, which I would also like to try to incorporate, because that form feature would work a lot like our talent ed program, where our schools now submit a field trip request to go somewhere. If they did it off of the form finder that's attached to our TransFinder, it's automatically in that system. So I would see what bus driver, who's driving it, what time it's leaving. And then the next time I need something from that driver, I already know where they're at, what they're doing, how long it's going to take, because that assignment's already in the computer. Whereas now I can only see AM, PM. I can't see if they've signed up for a field trip in the middle of the day. And, even though I have a spreadsheet, I try to keep up with that. I feel like the form finder, incorporating that into our system would be beneficial too. And there's always room for growth. I would like to consider piggybacking off of nutritional services on her Instagram page. I feel like the more information we can get out, the better off we are. I mean, we know it's the power and knowledge, and it is with people that know what's going on in the division, whether it's a late bus or, I feel like that would be beneficial to our department and our people. Another personal thing that I would like to do is reach out to other district supervisors around here and locally to have a yearly meeting, just to be able to see what is your division doing for shortages, what is your division doing to make your employees want to stay, anything that would help build our division in that aspect, I would really like to work on. And I'd also like to, I touched base on this before, is spotlight a driver on our district webpage. I feel like that it would boost morale, even if it was once a month, be able to spotlight a driver of the month. I feel like that they would feel more appreciated. And in closing, as you know, I have some serious challenges ahead of me, but I know despite the obstacles that the department faces today, that I couldn't be prouder of my drivers that have continued to step up and get the job done. And I look forward to working with you and forging a good working relationship. And that's all I have for you.
Great job.
Very nice.
So somehow I made it through that.
They did good.
I got some questions for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think getting it out when people step up, like double runs today, I would love to know those 7 names.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
know
it's
who-
definitely more than 7 people.
I know you meant
it's
7 missing, but
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
7 missing, but it takes a lot more, because a lot of times I'll split those routes up just so it doesn't take so long to get the kids home.
gotcha.
So if, sometimes I can't help it if I only have one driver available. But yeah, absolutely. I would love to tell you all those people.
Yeah, I would love to be on the social media or whatever. It'd be great to see.
Yeah.
The other one about the bonus and the attendance initiative or incentive, and then the recruit and retain. How would that work with the policy? Is it a policy issue, or is it just something we can just do if we feel like it's a good plan?
So the plan that Pam alluded to back in 2017, the former supervisor of support services came to the board, laid it out. You all approved it as a 1-year, just as a, let's see how it goes.
Trial program?
Yeah, and
Jackie was the only one that would vote for it, right, in 2017.
and the data said it went very well, and the drivers still talk about it.
Yes, yes, and I think the drivers really liked it. Just speaking with Kay McDaniel over the weekend, I think one of the things was that it was hard to track because you had to keep up with it by month to month, who went, who didn't. It was a lot to track over the course of the year. I think that was probably the biggest downfall. If we did something like that, we'd really, I think, need to find a better way to make it less complicated.
And we now have a supervisor who is a magician with spreadsheets.
Yes, I love spreadsheets.
Tracking is going to be, Pam is amazing with spreadsheets. So.
But you do have your work cut out for you.
I absolutely do, but I'm willing.
Because there's
I'm
times I
willing.
go to places and I see a bus driver, I'm usually there for a little while.
Yeah.
They've got a lot to say.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. And I'm glad they talk about it. But I like some of the things you're talking about here. I'd be very interested to hear some of this.
Yeah, I feel like if some of the things that I've laid out here would give them the opportunity to approach me, I feel like that I am very approachable. I know a lot of our drivers, and, I feel like they can approach me with issues so that hopefully we can resolve it.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of the monthly newsletter.
Yes.
Because you do have a unique department that nobody ever sees each other. That is
Yes.
this very unique dynamic. And that keeps everybody kind of on the same page.
Right.
Even if it was just, personal to them, letting everybody know which runs were done by who. And I do like the idea of you trying to do something to bring your group together, because obviously they play a huge role and they are serving the same cause. And just as an employee, who doesn't love an incentive?
Right. Right.
Well, I appreciate your leadership. I think it's very obvious that we chose the right person for the job.
Thank you.
Or they did, the staff did.
He earned it.
Yeah. But it's really, your ideas of communication are so key, and that's going to bring your team together. I really like those ideas that you had about and your recruitment. And recruitment's going to be very critical,
It is.
especially in the next 4 or 5 years. I mean, as we move forward. But I had an idea for you. So the banner ideas on the school buses, I think it's a good idea. It does bring people, at least it gets their attention. Got to make sure we put one at the county fair. Because,
Yeah, that's actually awesome
Great
idea.
yeah, put one out. And I go out to the tractor pull and get some of those guys, see if you can get them to put a banner on the side of their tractor. We're looking for drivers.
Because it's take Dr. Fox with you. She likes going to the fair.
Yeah, there we go.
It was 98 degrees.
Hot dogs, cotton candy, elephant ears. Yeah, there we go.
Those were some
but-
long, hot days.
Yeah.
Well,
But thank you for representing your drivers so well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And it
I
won't
just
be the
want to
last.
say, we've never, in my time, have I seen such a list of goals and ideas. And I really like the idea about surrounding counties,
Yeah.
sharing ideas back and forth.
Absolutely.
We don't want them to take our people or whatever, you know, but
Right.
I think it's a great idea, but you're to be commended.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like to take like detailed things and break them down, or I guess not break them down, but put them into patterns, and really see the patterns of appreciation and recognition, communication and community, and then collaboration with your objectives, and that's huge because I think those are things that we're missing as a society and a culture, you know, so that you're bringing that into your department. I think it's going to make a really big difference. So let us know how we can help.
Thank you.
You got to issue the challenge to the staff of how many people want to get a CDL.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna do.
I'll be sending that sign-up sheet, look, along.
Either go get a CDL or you have to become one of the victims on the bus triage.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Yeah.
Great job. Thank you, Pam. Good job. Yeah. So thank you. Good evening, board. Sebastian, I'll echo your sentiment about ambiance. Mrs. Sullivan Smoot, Mrs. Foltz, and Mrs. Plum from Shenandoah Elementary on Saturday evening. We were at Shenandoah Elementary for the 85th Shenandoah Alumni Association's dinner, and there was no power. So you can imagine, 100 people there, food, no power. I tell you, I told those ladies, we want to hire them in our division because they had candles and oil lanterns there within 30 minutes, and that place was gorgeous. And we made it through before the sun set. So I second your sentiment about the ambiance, but there were a lot of people sweating because we did not need a power outage on Saturday evening. We had multiple events going on across the division. So my update tonight for you, one, I just want to, this is Teacher Appreciation Week, and what we do in Page County is we acknowledge everybody. So it's teacher and staff appreciation for us. So we want to send a shout out to every single staff member, to those of you in here and outside. We want to just say thank you. And I know we say it, we try to say it a lot. We do mean it when we say it, but we are so grateful for the work that people do and what they bring, because everybody brings their own individual talents and skills to our division. So we say thank you for that. And we hope they are enjoying all the different activities and lots of feeding and things like that going on across the schools. And in May at this time of year, that's a good thing. So it helps us get through the end of the school year. So in that spirit, Monday night, obviously all of you were there. We had a really nice evening celebrating some of our division staff members of the year. So Lois Good is our Division Transportation Employee of the Year from the Luray area. Wendy Williams is from the Page area. Greg Morrison from Springfield Elementary is our Division Teacher of the Year. And Pam Nichols from the Technical Center is our Division Support Staff Member of the Year. So we want to, again, send congratulations to them, but also to, if you go to the next slide, please, all of our teachers and staff. But obviously these folks are peer selected. So congratulations to all of our 2024 Teachers of the Year from all of our schools. We have our Support Staff of the Year, again, one from each school. And then our Transportation Employees of the Year, a new addition this year. And we were able to celebrate them as well. And they joined us on Monday night again for a nice evening together. So thank you all for being there. And again, thank you to Patty and, Mrs. Sechrist and Mrs. Ragland for their assistance in putting that event together. It is, you've heard tonight a couple times from Mr. Runyon and Mr. Rittenhauer and Mrs. Damone that it is testing season. So schools have already started and or will be starting in the next week or so. We just want to wish all of our students the very best as they take their tests. We want to just remind them to take their time to relax and just do your best. We just ask you to do your best on those tests. So parents, let's get them to bed early, get them a good breakfast. If they don't have breakfast at home, we got it at school, not once but twice. So they'll be ready for their assessments. We just wish everybody good luck and thank you to all of the staff who make that happen. Because believe it or not, SOL testing is quite complicated logistically to make it all happen. So thank you to our staff for doing all of that. A couple of invitations for you all, and you'll get a full list of our spring events in your update tomorrow. But just a couple for you to put. Our PCTC signing day is Thursday, May 30th at 4 o'clock in the Commons. If you can join us for that. That is always a wonderful experience to see our students sign a contract before they even graduate from high school and have a full-time job and employment next school year. Our graduation ceremonies, the technical center will be on June 6th at Page County High School. Page High is on Saturday the 8th at 10 a.m. And then Luray High School is on Saturday the 8th at 6 p.m. So we hope you guys can join us for those events as well. And I want to congratulate Izzy. Monday, a week ago, we were at Laurel Ridge for their ceremony for students, and Izzy was there, as well as about 45 of our other students who will be, their student recognition ceremony. I'm sure you have some lovely pictures from that. It was outside at the Jenkins Hall. It was a warm afternoon, but a beautiful afternoon. So congratulations to you and all your classmates and kids from Page High. It's magical to see what you all have done in your short time in high school. So congratulations to all of you. That's my update this evening.
You have any questions?
That's good.
Thank you, Mr. Cox. Ms. Seeker, approval of claims for payment?
Yes, good evening again, board. The claims for payment operating expenditures are $161,340.51. Capital improvements, $21,034.53. Food service expenditures, $71,894.17. Total expenditures, $254,269.21. As well with that, you have the list of claims and the check registers. And if you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer.
Make a motion, we approve the claims for payment as presented.
I second it.
We have a motion by Ms. Alger and a second by Mr. Overfelt to approve the claims for payment as presented. Anybody have any questions?
Mr. Payne.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Ms. Seekers, purchase orders over 10,000?
Yes, board, we have 5 purchase orders this evening for your consideration. The first 2 are utilizing FY23 end-of-year local funding as well as some ESSER 3 funding for 2 vans. The next 2 are nutritional food services purchases, and I'm sure Ms. Jeffries could answer more questions on those if you have them. And the last there is utilizing ESSER 3 funding. Those are the Motorola radios. You all have seen a PO for this actually prior. That was that we've been waiting on for almost 2 years, and we were just received some information that those were not going to make it again.
Oh, my.
So Mr. Williams and Dr. Johnson were able to find another vendor who actually has 38 of these on hand. I'm not sure how all that works out, but and we have them. He told us he would hold them based on your commitment, and we would be able to get them. So those are the Motorola radios, the batteries, and the charging cradles that the schools use to communicate throughout their building.
I'll make a motion that we approve all purchases over $10,000.
Second.
A motion by Ms. Sullivan Smoot and a second by Mr. Overfelt to approve the purchase orders over 10,000. Are there any questions?
It's not relative. Mrs. Jeffries, what are 5 of these?
So 5 of these are a legume that has been, they're sort of, if you were to eat it, it's sort of like a corn nut consistency. And it will credit or give, for our meals, it can qualify either as a protein source or as a vegetable source. So for one of the weeks of our summer vacation, we are using it as a vegetable.
Doesn't it look like a big lima bean, kind of?
They're smaller, at least the versions that we're getting.
Okay.
And this particular set is pizza flavored, which we think that
Ooh.
students will
How about that?
enjoy. And again, it counts as a bean, so a vegetable. So it's a better way for us to give them the required bean frequency that required. We're excited to be able to offer.
Never thought you'd hear being frequency. Jeffries likes to sneak the edges.
You know, that
Yeah, you do.
brings another thought to mind, but I'll leave that alone.
Yeah.
But I do have a question on, I don't know, maybe it might not be the right point, but are we, have we have we obligated all of our funds that are about to run out?
We actually had a meeting on that today, and we are working with the VDOE, and we feel like we're going to be able to get those funds expended. I just committed saying that we were today, so yes, sir, we're going to get it spent.
Okay, good. That's good to know.
And
Don't
Mr.
leave any
Turner
money on the
and-
table.
Yeah, Mr. Turner and Dr. Johnson and I are actually working on another possible band expenditure. Now that the VDOE had given us the approval to move some more funds.
Okay.
So he's hot on it to get us another van, as he thinks that would be a good asset.
Oh,
for the
good.
division.
All right.
Our goal
Very
is to
good.
get it as close to zero as we possibly can, if not zero.
Great goal. Let's hope we get there. All right.
I'm not giving them any money.
Thank you.
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
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 Yes. Ms. Baker, approval of special education annual plan.
Thank you, Board. I'm here this evening to ask for your approval for the special education annual plan that was presented at the last meeting. This would be submitted to the Department of Education tomorrow upon your approval, and then we'll wait to hear from them as to what our award amount actually is.
I make a motion, we approve the special education annual plan as presented previously by Ms. Baker.
Second.
The motion by Mr. Overfelt and second by Ms. Alger to approve the special education annual plan as presented.
Yes.
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 Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Fox, budget adoption.
Yes, so good evening, Board. Tonight I'm going to bring you, not a whole lot has changed, very much similar to what you just approved a couple of weeks ago, but I'm going to bring you tonight for an adoption of our budget, knowing, again, that there's going to be amendments that come once we get more information back from the state. So we always start off every budget presentation with what's our why, and our most important why, again, is our students, and everything tracks back to them. Our budget priorities this year are supporting teachers and staff in that recruitment and retention of quality staff, leaders, and support staff. Our student and teacher supports in the area of mental health and behaviors. Our instructional support positions, those were the ones we brought to you, special ed and the English language learner positions and some others. Organizational management, safety, and efficiency, our facilities maintenance and upgrades, and then expanding the career and technical center. So those are our continued budget priorities. Just as a reminder, we talk about budget, we talk about ADM. We have set that number as 2880 for next school year. That hasn't changed. Our revenue sources, again, just a reminder where the money comes from that supports us, comes from the state, from the locality, the county of Page, and then the federal government and other or miscellaneous sources. When we talk about our budget, and we see in just a minute, I'll break it down for you in terms of Fund 1, Fund 2, and Fund 3. And that's where those things will remain, so you'll hear us talk about that throughout the course of the year. We've talked over time, this is going to stay as it is for now until we hear back from the state, but we're still putting that 4% and a step out there as a possibility with classified scales adjustments. If you recall, those are all those changes that we wanted to make to those classified scales. For right now, they're just there still. When we know what we get from the state, then we can figure out what we're going to do and how we might do it. So everything, again, is just there as a holding place. This slide is new information for you in terms of compensation increases and contracts. Dr. Johnson walked you through what that looks like in our timeline. So the current recommendation that's on the table is a 3% increase for all SOQ positions in FY25 and FY26. And if you recall, early in the process, we know that when they say SOQ, it doesn't mean they fund everybody in the division. So there's that local match that's required. So funding for that 3%, the state is going to give about $505,000. The locality would be required to give just over $255,000. The total of that 3% compensation for all staff would be $760,000. I really want to say thank you, and I'm happy to say that the Board of Supervisors on Monday night at their budget adoption did give a verbal commitment to the 3%, that if it comes through from the state, they're going to honor that and will provide the funding for it. So I think we have to celebrate that. It's a good thing. It doesn't allow us to write the contracts with the 3% in it, but it does allow us, we're going to include a letter that says there's a verbal commitment from the Board of Supervisors. And I think that will eliminate some of the stress that some teachers felt last year when we couldn't do that. So I want to say thank you to the Board of Supervisors and to Ms. Moeller for assisting and allowing us to at least have that verbal commitment. I think that's a great step forward, and we appreciate it on behalf of our teachers and our staff. So those contracts will go out. Right now, they're slated to go out on that Tuesday. They'll be due that next Monday. So we will provide a budget update to them because there might be something. The governor and the General Assembly are scheduled to meet on the 13th, and they have a vote slated on the 15th. Again, we're hearing that vote is likely not going to happen, but it could be. And so by the time we push contracts out, we might have some new information to share. So we would give a budget update. We'll include a letter with that. If we don't have information from the state, what that means moving forward, we'll share with them that the next board meeting with the Board of Supervisors is not until July, and go through all of that information so they have that before they leave for the end of the school year. Just as a reminder to you all, and we included this in our letter with the request to the Board of Supervisors, that our contracts do have a clause in there that says if state funding or other funding doesn't come through, then the contract, we have the right to not then honor that contract. So while that may be a negative for a teacher because it sounds like we might not honor a contract, that's not the intent of it. The intent of it is just if there's something crazy that happens with funding and we have to make an adjustment, we can legally have the right to do that. I don't believe in my tenure we've ever done that. But that clause is in there. And then again, the remainder of those compensation proposals, like whether we can get more than 3%, what can we do for our classified staff? I think those are just tabled for now until we hear more from the state. I don't want to say they're off the table because I don't want to say that, but I think we definitely revisit them once we get more information. The next slide, again, not new to you, same slide, you've seen it multiple times. Those are those positions in order of what we'd like to see if we have the funding for them and or if the state budget comes through with some funding. Because again, we're hearing something that there might be funding for EL teachers. The special ed plan might be enough funding to bring another teacher through. Additional costs, this is the not so fun slide, but you all were advised a couple weeks ago that our health insurance increase is at that 11%. We estimate those utilities and contracts increasing by 10%. Shenandoah Valley Regional Program, right now, that increase is sitting still at 361. That might come down. And then operations and maintenance budget, that's the additional money that we believe we need to move into that account. So that $1.3 million is still just sitting there. Again, once we get more information from the state, we can come back and revisit this. And just as a reminder, all of these numbers are still based on the governor's proposed budget from December. So taking all of that into account, the compensation adjustments that we originally proposed, the staffing needs and requests, and then those additional costs, you're still looking at an increase of $3.9 million if we were to get every single thing. Projected state funding, you've seen this slide a number of times as well. Same thing. This is still based on the governor's proposed budget, and right now it has an increase for us flat out. So if nothing happened and just his budget got approved, we'd see an increase of $325,000. And then this slide is a little bit new to you because this does include the $500,000. So in addition to a verbal commitment to the 3%, they did also approve the increase of $500,000 to the division. So that's good news to know that we have that money. When we find out from the state, we can make some decisions moving forward. So the next slide, this is the one that scared you when you first saw it. You see that decrease there, but don't be alarmed by that. That is just the decrease from this year to last year, and that's due to that loss of those federal pandemic.
The ESA money.
Yeah. The next slide is our revenue update, and again, you're going to see that negative there, but again, that's due to that federal loss of funds. You do see now in the local, under FY25 projected local, that $12,218,266. That's the $500,000 increase over last year. And then the capital, the only change we've made here is there is going to be some school construction money. If you recall, last year, the state specifically allocated division school construction money. We're given more than 1 year to use that money. So we will have a little bit of that left over, not a whole lot. That will carry over into FY25. Right now, it's not included in our budget number because we can't reallocate it until July 1st with the county. So they didn't include it in their budget. We'll add it back in, so it's not lost or gone. It's just not in this current budget number, but come July 1, add it back in. It'll be in your new numbers when we come back to ask you to re-adopt the budget or with the amendments.
But we're not getting any from the state this year.
No, right now, the only money that they're saying, what's been proposed is either through grants and or loans. So there's no direct allotment to school division. So I'm hoping maybe that'll change, but I'm not hearing that that's going to change. And then nutritional services, this is based again on the governor's proposed budget. We would see a decrease there of about $30,000. This slide, again, not new. Nothing has changed here other than I'll make a comment about the categorical funding request that we made. But this is if the House amendments and the Senate amendments were to be approved, this is the extra funding that would come, and a reminder that that's based on that lower ADM that came with the governor's original budget. So those numbers will change once we get information from the state. As of Monday night, the Board of Supervisors did not elect to remove the categorical funding restriction. So we still are there. I think we still engage in more conversations with them about it. We know we're going to make some budget amendments, so maybe in July we can revisit it with them and maybe get that changed. So as of right now, it remains. And so then just looking at everything in total, again, don't panic because you see that red over there. This is where we would be looking in terms of FY25 with a $44 million of projected revenue. Again, based on the governor's December budget, reflects the loss of those federal funds and the school construction funds. And it does show that increase of $500,000 from the locality. So what I'm asking tonight, requesting for you all, is to please approve a budget for FY25 in the amount of $44,778,811, knowing that your adoption acknowledges that we will need to come back and make some amendments once we get information from the state and with the Board of Supervisors. If that happens tonight and we have your approval, the next steps are we await those meetings at the state level and we await more information from them. Again, contracts are going to go out regardless, and then we will have to amend those in July. Those will be amended. And then I'll come back to you and we'll talk about work sessions or anything like that that might be needed once we have enough information. So again, just asking, requesting for your approval of our the adoption of our FY25 budget.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the budget as presented this evening with the understanding amendments might have to be made once we hear back from the governor's budget.
Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Sullivan Smoot, and a second by Mr. Painter to approve the FY25 budget of $44,778,411. Right, I wrote that down.
Yeah.
There we go. Taking notes. Some people think I don't pay attention. I do. Knowing that we're going to have to come back and make amendments. Are there any questions, discussion?
The only discussion would be thanks for the hard work of the supervisors. It looked like it was a favorable meeting the other night, minus the categorical funding, but thank you.
And thank you guys for your support as well. We appreciate that because you guys have been advocating as well with them, so thank you.
Yes.
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 Yes. Can I have a motion to approve personnel action A?
I'll make a motion that we approve personnel action A.
Second.
A motion by Ms. Sullivan Smoot and a second by Mr. Painter to approve personnel action A.
Mr. Painter?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
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 I have a motion to approve personnel action B.
I make a motion, we approve personnel action B.
I second.
Motion by Mr. Overfelt, a second by Ms. Sullivan Smoot to approve personnel action B.
No.
Yes.
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 Yes. I have a motion to approve personnel action C.
I make a motion to approve personnel action C.
A motion by Ms. Sullivan Smoot and a second by Ms. Alger to approve personnel action C.
Yeah.
Yes.
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 Yes. Board member discussion, Pat?
Well, I would just like to say, when May comes, everybody starts running in all different directions, and we started this, but hats off to the FFA and FCCLA for the dinner they had. And, you know, sports are in, the banquets are coming up, prom's coming up, or I guess prom's already been.
They were early this year.
Yeah. But it's just a busy time on top of everything else, graduation, SOLs, you name it. So hats off to everyone. Less than a month and you can kind of take a seat back and relax a little bit, But you're to be commended on all that you get done, and not just here, but I'm talking about every school building, all the transportation, cafeteria. I'm probably going to leave something out, but everything that makes this school system come together. Thank you for all that you do.
I just want to ask a question about, just a discussion point. Dr. Johnson, what's our status on the Keys Academy?
Keys Academy is moving well. I actually sent a draft lease this week with the hope that I'll bring it to you all for information over the next meeting. Mr. Williams and his team was on site with their director 2 days ago. They were finishing touches on some minor changes to classrooms, like the shelving that needs to go, or a plexiglass window that needs to be adjusted every year. So all of that's going on. They fund all of that. So anything we do like that, we receive it, and that's on them if they have those special requests. So we're moving well, and there's nothing that suggests that you won't be seeing a lease request in 2 weeks.
Great, that's good news. I'm just going to, I echo Jackie's comments. I mean, you know, you look at the contracts and you talk about some of the folks have got 3 or 4 different contracts. I mean, our staff wears so many different hats. It's incredible. And, you know, I really appreciate the presentations from the schools. It really helps educate me, and it just demonstrates to hope anybody who's watching, I hope people are watching, it demonstrates how hard our school staffs work and all the wonderful things that they're doing for our kids. And as we talked about earlier, kids are our children. The children are the focus. They're the most important thing. They're our future, and they're the focus of all of our efforts ought to be on the children. Really glad to see us working out this EMS plan. I really think it's overdue in our country, in our community. I mean, there's so much turmoil going on everywhere. We need to be prepared, and that's. I'm really happy that we're moving forward with that. I think it's really important. Again, congratulations on Mrs. Hall. I appreciate you. You really displayed the reason why you were selected tonight. And I would only make one more recommendation to you. You've got a lot of great ideas. You just need to prioritize them, because you got to take them one, you know, they say you can't eat the elephant all at one time. You got to eat it one bite at a time. So that's what this is going to be. But anyway, that's all. Thank you.
Got a lot. So, yeah, first, I just want to thank our board of supervisors for partnering with us. And it is so imperative that we work together for our county, for our community, but most of all, our kids. I truly believe the best form of prevention is focusing on the children and supporting our youth. And there's, the African, I don't know if it's African proverb, but they say that you can measure the well-being of a society by looking at how well the children are doing. So I think that we really just have to keep, as Mr. Overfelt said, and I think Mr. Painter has referred to so many times, that North Star, that compass, that anchor, it has to be our children. And speaking on that, our community has experienced significant tragedy, and trying to get emotional, and lost this week. And, it's just devastating. And it's devastating that it just keeps happening. And it's, children that are currently in our school system, it's children that have previously and recently been in our school system, and we have to do more. And I know that our staff is doing so much, so I'm not saying doing more and putting more workload on, but I think in our roles, all of us in this room, we create and set the culture, and we set the pace. And I, was gone last week at the conference in San Diego, and it was focused all around hope. And I think that's what's happening whether it comes to our staff and not feeling appreciated, or our youth. It's just we're losing hope, and what's the point? And we have to reestablish that, and we have to rebuild that. And education is very difficult right now, and life is very difficult, and the world is very difficult, but we have to focus on those positive things of seeing these presentations from the schools and what's going well, and hearing about all of your goals that you want to achieve. I think we have to have something to look forward to. And with that, I appreciate our teachers and our staff and everything they do. It is a tireless, thankless job, and I'm just, words cannot give that appreciation enough. So I hope we can continue to do what we need to do to show that. And with that, congratulations to all the teachers and support staff and transportation folks that received their honors this week. I'd really like to expand that. I want to see appreciation for our maintenance crew. And for our nutritional service workers. I think we need to highlight them as well. I had the pleasure of doing the porch visit program, and every day when I was in the school, that's who I saw were the nutritional service workers and our maintenance crew, and they do so much. You see them going from point A to point B and in the schools. I know that there are men in the maintenance department that were there when I was in school. So I really want to show that appreciation for every one of it. I can keep going. That's all I got.
Lots of great stuff already. I'm very grateful for the verbal commitment from the supervisors, and I really hope that uplifts. I mean, how appropriate during, Staff Appreciation Week. They do see it, and we do want to work together you guys are helping us bring in our future community, and we do appreciate everything that you're doing. As Taylor was saying, just hope in the world, and it's hard as adults when you've got so much to carry. We are the hope. We are the positive that these children need, and sometimes to reset and refocus, just remember that the impact that you're making, you have no idea. You might hear about it 10 years from the day that it happened, but you're making a difference, and every position matters. There is absolutely not one group that you could eliminate and the system would still work. It just can't happen. It's a team. It's a team effort. We're all one body, but we have feet and hands, and we all just work together. So keep doing a great job. You appreciate it, and spread some hope.
Well, my daughter graduated in 2017 from Page County High School, and I still went to ball games because I knew some of the guys that played on the basketball team. And I went to a girls' game for the first time, and I was watching them warm up, and I always like to see who has the most energy and what they do. And you always wonder, if you haven't seen a team play before, who's going to take the ball and run with it. And it was a little girl, you looked at her, she was skinny. But when the ball got tipped off, She controlled the ball. She scored the ball. She rebounded the ball. She dove on the ground. She was the leader of the team. And today we said goodbye to her. Miss Lauren Andrews, 23. Her parents, she's the daughter of Mike Williams and Marie Ward. She graduated from Page County High School and Lord Fairfax Community College in 2019 with her associate's degree. She excelled on the basketball court with many accomplishments, such as scoring over 1,000 career points and previous Region 2B Player of the Year. After graduation, she went into the medical field and she kept progressing. The attendance was at the funeral today was overwhelming. They parked all up and down the road in people's yards. A couple of our members were there. You know, it's hard to watch students, JV, particularly JV basketball team, in tears, the girls. And seeing all the staff that was there. And I appreciate everybody that helped get the staff there. Of current students, even the boys' teams, I would guess, Taylor and Megan, y'all might be able to know, I would say 75 kids were there out of the schools. And I appreciate us working with them to allow them to do that and say goodbye. And then there was one person on our staff, Mr. David Kale, was there. And he had kids in the school currently. He had graduates coming up, giving him a hug and thanking him for being there. Now, Mr. Kale, he's been there since I've been a board member, even in 2015, I believe it was, when we did the interviews and did that, 2015. And that longevity means something because we don't have it in every school. We got 1 year, 2 year, 2 weeks. We got open positions right now. When you can say hello to a freshman and see him all the way to a senior, that means something. That tells me that man is in it for the kids. For the young people, a message that Taylor, I know, shares and we do as a board, and I know you guys as well. You matter. It's good to see you at a FFA. Yeah. My dad wants to take a picture with him because he has a cowboy hat. It's good to see all the things you're doing. And I saw the pictures of your graduation ceremonies and stuff. It's awesome. Last night I was at the track meet and Jackson and Marta were there and come up talking to me about their school year and what they're going to do this summer. Students, you matter. And for anybody that has a doubt, this world is a better place with you in it. Now, while we mourn and we celebrate her life, I wish she was here. If anybody's thinking about this world's a better place without you in it, you're wrong. Stay with us.
I think they said everything, and all of my kids were connected to Lauren.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have too much to add other than it's a tragic loss for our community. And you never know what people are dealing with. I mean, you never know. I remember seeing her on the court with Maddie and Kate. And you just thought she was a fighter. You know, she was the one that smiled and she was the strong one. But you never know what people are fighting and the impact that you can make on their lives. And you all, everybody in this room and in our school community, you make an impact every day. So don't forget that. And we thank you and appreciate you all.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Felder and a second by Mr. Overfelt to adjourn.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.